This video is brought to you by Hellscape Trigger, written by yours truly. I recently published it on the Amazon, so if you want to check it out, the link will be in the description below. Okay, so, welcome to another episode of How to Fix. And I know, it's been a long time coming, but it is finally here. And in today's episode, we will be talking about how to fix Mortal Kombat 2021. So I guess before we start fixing this film, let's talk about where it went wrong. So Mortal Kombat 2021, I feel as if this movie had a lot going on. It tried to do a lot of things and pay homage to a lot of stuff without actually having an initial plot to go through. But outside of those flaws, everything else is still great. I mean, the action is great. This is our first rated R Mortal Kombat film, and it takes a really big advantage of that R rating. But with poor dialogue and poor storytelling, this movie definitely needs a revamp. And that's what we're here to do. So, without further ado, here is how to fix Mortal Kombat 2021. So one of the big fixes that we need to do here is get rid of that OC. I think his name was Cole Young. Who cares what his name is?
It doesn't matter what your name is!
We're gonna get rid of this boring, bogus OC character and add the original main character of Mortal Kombat. That's right, we're adding Johnny Cage. Also, another change, Shang Tsung doesn't make an appearance in this film.
He's about to get his soul sucked.
Instead, we're gonna have Sub-Zero be the main villain. And towards the end final fight, we will get some more outworld combatants to help him. I'm not gonna go into that right now because spoilers. And finally, we're gonna get rid of those stupid symbol power crap things because it just makes it feel like a loser can just pick that up and become a powerful combatant. These are already powerful warriors from the jump. And so the movie starts how it usually would, with Sub-Zero attacking Scorpion, and this sets the tone for the movie and establishes Sub-Zero as the main antagonist. And from here, this is where Sub-Zero will meet an old Shang Tsung, and here they strike a deal which leads to the main plot of the film. And so the movie cuts to introduce Johnny Cage, similar to Cole Young in his MMA scene, but now we're going to get an acting scene similar to the one in Mortal Kombat 1 with the fake Indiana Jones. And I'm going to take another play out of Mortal Kombat 1's book and talk about the part where his wife basically leaves him. And from here you also find out that he's broke. And check this out. We're going to be introduced to his daughter, Cassie Cage. Yep, his daughter is already a thing. And so Cassie kind of thinks that her dad is just a loser, basically a washed up Hollywood actor that hasn't really gotten a good movie since like the 90s. And so while wrapping up his shoot, Johnny Cage is then met by an Asian man who mentions how he's a fan of his movies. He then tells him about the Mortal Kombat tournament, in which Johnny thinks it's a new pitch for his movie, so he agrees to it. So now he's out with Cassie getting ice cream with a new sense of hope. And this is similar to the scene within the original movie, so this scene plays out kinda the exact same. The same Asian man appears to save Johnny and his daughter, and at this point he reveals himself to be, drumroll, Kung Lao. So he and Sub-Zero fight until he eventually loses, not being strong enough to face him. So now at this point, Johnny Cage manages to escape with his daughter thanks to the help of, give me another drum roll, Sonya Blade. Now we get some fun banter between these two as a newly divorced playboy Johnny Cage is continuously flirting with Sonya. They then travel to her hideout where she reveals two other fighters, those being Jax and Kano. Sonya captured Kano a while ago and was told to use him as an asset, and she also has Jax here just in case things get out of hand. And also, Sonya hates this, but you gotta listen to the higher ups. She then explains to Johnny Cage how the CIA or FBI, whichever one you want to pick, has been investigating this ancient tournament that's been held every 50 years. And so now at this point, you'll see some conspiracy newspapers talking about strange happenings over the years, such as a smoke-wielding ninja, a man controlling the weather, realm theories, and a fire-breathing and wielding ninja. You see what I did there?
He's about to get his soul sucked.
And so, Johnny Cage being Johnny Cage commends Sonya for her method acting. So again, the plot of the original movie is unfocused, but the fundamentals are there, so it still plays out the exact same with reptiles showing up, except I don't want this to be the actual reptile. Instead, it's another insert reptiles race here. And so, just like in the original film, they end up defeating him with the help of Kano and are off to find the hidden Shaolin monk temple. Johnny is still not convinced about all this being real. So after this, we're brought to the scene where the group is walking through the desert searching for the temple. Jax and Johnny Cage banter with Jax getting really sick and tired of his shit. They eventually arrive to see a man in the it's Liu Kang. It's Liu Kang. If you watch the movie, you already know it's Liu Kang. He then leads them to the temple where we're met with another drum roll. Give me another drum roll. Raiden. And also Kung Lao, who's recovering from his earlier injuries. And so now Raiden explains the tournament to them and how their world is in jeopardy. You know, yada yada, all that end of the world mumbo jumbo, hoopla. And this brings us to the training scene, and the others see how capable of a fighter Johnny Cage is. He ends up defeating Jax in a fight, which soon earns his respect. We then cut to a scene in Outworld where Shang Tsung enlists Sub-Zero to attack the Earth Roamers. And I know what you're thinking. How does Shang Tsung know where they're at? Well, this whole time Johnny Cage has been filming this and posting it on his social media. And so now Sub-Zero sends his Lin Kuei soldiers to find the temple and attack them. So now the dinner scene from the original movie is still the same for the most part, except this time we're exposed to the dynamics between characters. Liu Kang and Kung Lao explain how they were both farmers until Raiden enlisted them to join the tournament. And if you guys know, this is the same backstory from Mortal Kombat 1, except instead of Liu Kang, it was Raiden. You get it, they switch places basically. But as you can tell, this is taking a lot of inspiration from Mortal Kombat 1. What can I say? Though the game is absolute shit, it still had a nice modernized story. And also, from the original movie, how great the Kano scene is, I'm going to skip it. And instead we get a scene with Sonya and Johnny where Johnny talks about his daughter. So after that, the fighters are called back together. They talk for a little bit, you know, until the Lin Kuei attack. Oh my god. Not the Lin Kuei, no. So now being led by Cyrax and Sector, they kidnap Kano and take him to Outworld. And this is where we get our fight scene of the second act. You know, the Earth Roamers are winning. They manage to draw back the Lin Kuei until Sub-Zero appears. And you know, Sub-Zero, being an absolute dog, knocks them all out one by one until he gets to Liu Kang, who is about to defeat him until Cyrax and Sector show up. And so now Liu Kang is double teamed and overwhelmed, and this is going to show up later on. If you know, you know. And so now we get Sub-Zero fighting Jax, and this is going to be the same scene from the original movie where Sub-Zero basically freezes off his arms. And from this point, Jax is written out of the movie until the sequel. And so now we get Johnny Cage fighting Sub-Zero. Johnny Cage is easily defeated. And at this point, Sub-Zero basically explains how he got there and how Johnny Cage's arrogance is going to cost his team the tournament and stuff. And then he also explains that his arrogance is going to cost him the life of his daughter, as he shows him an ice projection of Goro approaching his mansion. And now at this point, after just watching his friends get their asses kicked, hero mode finally kicks in for Johnny Cage. And he actually manages to beat Sub-Zero. So the Lin Kuei and Sub-Zero retreat. And so this doesn't happen directly after the Lin Kuei retreat. I just want to implement it now. But Sub-Zero heads back to Outworld and berates Cyrax and Sector for letting him lose. He then offers their souls to Shang Tsung for more power. And lock in, guys. This shit is cool. Shang Tsung then grants Sub-Zero more power, giving him half ice-based abilities and half noob Cybot abilities. F***ing cool, right? If you've been enjoying this How to Fix video, you might want to take some time to check out Hellscape Trigger, an original story written by me. The link is in the description below. What is not cool is that this noob Cybot ability is now killing Sub-Zero, slowly killing him. So now we're back at the temple with the aftermath. You know, Sonya and the Templemen are working to heal Jax's arms. And so Johnny tells Raiden to let him leave to his family, which Raiden allows. And, you know, Liu Kang's kind of confused. And he's like, why'd you do that? And Raiden says the infamous quote, "He's a hero, though he may not know it yet." You see, Raiden knows something that Shang Tsung doesn't. And he also knows something that the other fighters don't. And he also knows something Johnny doesn't. And so this is why he lets him go fight Goro for his daughter. Which leads us to that scene, which is similar to the one from the original film, except now it's Johnny Cage versus Goro, which is the actual and proper fight. And as they're fighting, Johnny Cage gets his ass kicked. But with the help of his resolve and his daughter, he activates that strange green power and ends up defeating Goro with a good old nut shot. And so now Sub-Zero appears out of the little black gooey portal that he makes and beats the hell out of Johnny Cage before taking his daughter again. Cassie cannot catch a break. And the way Sub-Zero fights now is he still has his ice-based abilities, but now he has that noob juice clone that's made out of noob juice. I'm reading the script right now. I didn't ad-lib that. I said he fights with his noob juice clone, which is made out of noob juice and ice. So after this beating, a portal appears and Sonya hops out to help Johnny back to the temple. So now at this point, everybody's pretty distraught. They're like, dang, we're not really strong enough to defeat these guys. They just beat the hell out of us. But they all look to Raiden and they see Raiden smiling. And they're like, dude, now's not the time. But Raiden basically explains that Johnny Cage has an ancient power hidden within him, which he finally unlocked during his fight. And so this was all a part of Raiden's plan, and now they have a strong enough fighter on his team. And so now as they're all like, phew, man, Raiden, that you had us going there for a second, Shang Tsung appears. But he appears as like this big talking head. I think that's really cool if he's just a presence. Like if you rode the Mummy ride at Universal Studios, you can, the sand face. That's how Shang Tsung looks. And so Shang Tsung tells the fighters about the tournament, which is the final battle of the film. And so Shang Tsung tells Raiden that he's going to start the tournament early and introduces his 3 new Outworld combatants. Get ready for this. These 3 combatants are Katana, Raiko, and Kano, now decorated with his actual laser eye. And this also isn't the actual tournament. Shang Tsung's just being an just basically ambushing them. But now the environment switches to his island and we get these 3 fights. Katana versus Liu Kang, Sonya versus Kano, and Kung Lao versus Raiko. So Liu Kang defeats Katana and this banter teases a romantic relationship in the sequel. Sonya defeats Kano and we get a gruesome kill involving his laser eye. And Kung Lao defeats Raiko and cuts him in half with his hat, fatality. And so from here, Johnny is brought to Sub-Zero's location where he sees his daughter frozen in the noob juice and ice. We gotta call that something else, I'm sorry. We'll call it noob ice. And so now we get the final battle of the movie, which is Sub-Zero versus Johnny Cage. And let's just say, you already know, say it with me, Johnny Cage gets his ass beat again. And this fight is similar to the original movie because that final fight in the original movie isn't that bad. So get over here. And so now we get a fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, who's a perfect match for Sub-Zero. This specific part of the fight would be longer than the original. And so it continues until we get a reference to Noob Saibot's X-Ray, knocking Scorpion out of the fight. And so now Johnny Cage is like, no!
I will not let you destroy my world!
And gets a completely new super green ninja armor transformation, becoming a full-fledged hero. He and Scorpion then team up to defeat Sub-Zero, and we get a sick little tag team fatality where Johnny Cage shadow kicks Sub-Zero and Scorpion follows it up by spearing him in the mouth, similar to that Mortal Kombat 11 fatal. And so now from this point, Raiden and the others show up to see Johnny reuniting with his daughter. Raiden and Scorpion share a nod before Scorpion jets off. And so the conclusion of the film sets up the next movie and establishes newer projects in the franchise. In the ending scene involving Outworld, we'd get a Shao Kahn cameo, and we'd also introduce his son, General Shao. Yep, yeah, I went there. We'll call him SJ for short. We'd also get a Quan Chi cameo where Shang Tsung mentions that his Spectre went AWOL. And at this point, Shao Kahn is berating Katana, who is his quote-unquote daughter. And Katana basically mentions how the Chosen One spared her, yada yada. They're talking about Liu Kang. And so Shao Kahn's like, okay, bet. Quan Chi, Shang Tsung, go find him and take him out. And so now on Earthrealm, Raiden tells the others to search for more fighters before the tournament and mentions the legends of a swordsman. And so now Johnny goes and searches for this swordsman before the next tournament. And this is where the movie would basically end. So now I want to take some time to talk about some of the spin-off titles because we're going to try to make this into a cinematic universe. The lore of Mortal Kombat is so just huge that I don't think you can just tell it all in a movie. That's why this original movie failed. So here's a list of some of the spin-off titles I would do. We'd get a Scorpion show, we'd get a Shaolin Monk show, and we'd get a Deadly Alliance show. In the Scorpion show, it would basically be Scorpion just cleaning up all of Quan Chi's messes. And by messes, I mean some of Quan Chi's plans. Scorpion would just be foiling them all. Until eventually, I think I'd do this in like the sequel movie, we get Scorpion versus Quan Chi. In the Shaolin Monk show, we'd get Kung Lao and Liu Kang, and that would be similar to the video game's plot, except we'd still introduce more new fighters for the next film. And for the Deadly Alliance show, it wouldn't be like Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, but it would just be Shang Tsung and Quan Chi trying to find Liu Kang. And some of the characters that would appear in Deadly Alliance would be like Jade, Melina. I think I would want Melina to be referenced in that show, not actually appear yet. I think another show I would do, as I'm recording this actually, I didn't put it in my script, but I'd do a Jax show. A Jax show that just basically showcases him learning how to live with his robot arms. And we'd also get the Jackie Briggs cameo. And so that was basically it. I feel like we got a nice little billion-dollar franchise on our hands here. An R-rated cinematic universe based on a video game. Ed Boon, come on, hit me up. I mean, I know I've been shitting on Mortal Kombat 1, but I still love Mortal Kombat. It's near and dear to my heart. I'm just saying, if you need somebody to write the next Mortal Kombat film, I'm here. Just give me what I'm working with. I got you.